So you
is.
can get like $3-4 grand off.
Jesus. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I call this meeting of the Fraser Planning Commission for September 3rd, 2025 to order at 7 o'clock exactly. If you'll please turn off or put on silent any cell phones and stand and join me in starting our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we will begin with roll call. Lauren, if you can take care of that.
Commissioner Barr?
Here.
Commissioner Zarnecki?
Present.
Commissioner Farina?
Here.
Commissioner Kyle?
Here.
Commissioner Meyer?
Here.
Commissioner Toller?
Here.
Chair Warnick?
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. Now we need approval of the agenda. Is there any discussion or comments?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
First, any comments first? Give a chance for anybody. No comments? Okay. Go ahead.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Farina and, ordered by Commissioner Toller. And so if you will, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, and that passes. Okay. So we go to opening remarks. Here we go. All right. Tonight's meeting will follow the agenda, which was posted online and has been printed for you here. Before we begin, it is important to let everyone know that the Planning Commission is created by state law. The commission is comprised of 7 members, all of whom have volunteered to serve. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. The role of the Planning Commission is to plan and promote the efficient, coordinated development of the city for the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents. We are not here to negotiate with applicants or allow everything an applicant is requesting. However, the Planning Commission does have the power to approve certain requests and recommend others, depending on the nature of the request and whether all the standards in the zoning ordinance have been met. Planning Commission may also impose conditions on a proposed project in order to ensure that those standards are met. Other individuals with us here tonight are our legal representative from O'Reilly Rensselaer PC, Alyssa Erickson, and our city planner representing McKenna and Associates, Lauren Sayre. And Lauren Sayre is acting also as our, what is it? Clerk, like, whatever. Okay. All that said, I'll move on to item number 5. And there are no public hearings tonight, so I don't have to go into the requirements of that. So moving on to item number 5 is approval of the minutes. Any discussion or comment on the minutes? We all had updated minutes given to us. Hopefully you all got that.
Yes.
Okay, and Commissioner Farina.
On page 3, item 11, under my report, it's the Knights of Columbus Fish Fry is on every other Friday. In Malachi's.
I caught that too.
It's good you two catch something like that.
It was so vital for the meeting, you know?
This,
Okay, anything else?
all I have.
On the, it would be 3, 5, 7, 8. Shouldn't it, instead of saying for the votes yea or aye and nay, shouldn't it say aye for the ones that were here and absent for Commissioner Barr? She didn't vote no, she wasn't here to vote.
Nay should say,
It should say
Absent.
Thank you.
absent.
I was very upset about that because it said nay, we're all in,
Right.
that's not true.
nope, just absent in place of nay.
Right, correct.
Okay, so that was on every one of those. So we got on 3, On
3,
5,
5,
5,
7. There's 2 motions under 7.
got it.
And then the adjournment, which was 12.
12,
Nay.
okay.
Nay on the agenda.
Roseanne didn't want to leave, so she said nay to adjournment. All right, we got all those. Somebody else, Kathy?
Yes, and I did contact our city clerk, and he said he would make the changes. Mine are very administrative. I can go through them quickly if you like. On page 1, item 3, there's a double C in there. He's
Oh, yes.
yeah, he's identifying 7CC, should just be 7C. Page 1, agenda item 4, Chairman Warnick delivered the opening remarks. I don't care for addressing the room. I don't know how you address the room.
Right.
And page 2, item number 7, the third paragraph it misspells your name, Chairman Warnick.
Yes, I know. That's what I was going to say.
All right. On that same page, item 7, the rezoning request, David Meyer from Sheets addressed the board, not council, the board, and answered the
Oh.
questions.
Very good.
All right. And on the last page, under the commissioner's comments, I asked the city clerk to omit the comments he put down for me and to add that I acknowledge city council for their consideration in our monthly meeting increase stipend. And that's all I asked the city clerk to revise.
Okay. Lauren, you got all those then?
I do have it written down. I believe August is going to do the minutes after, but I do have it
Okay.
written down
Oh,
as
he'll-
well.
okay, from the, okay, good.
Mr. Chair, I did also have one item for 7, the motion that was made. I believe that the condition that was added by Mr. Tuller was no outdoor storage is permitted without a variance, not planning commission approval.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Yeah, so for the motion to approve the special approval land use,
Okay.
in my review of the video, Mr. Tuller added that no outdoor storage is permitted without a variance, not planning commission approval, because outdoor storage is prohibited.
Okay.
Yes. All the rest okay there? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, you got mine, that's the only thing. Okay, so, at that, do we have a motion to accept it with the corrections?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as revised.
Support?
I support.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Meyer, support by Commissioner Zarnicki. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? None. Okay. Okay, so go to item number 6. There's no unfinished business. So we'll go to 7, new business. We have no public hearings, so 7B, site plans. SLU 25-02, 33341 Kelly Road, complete car care. Do we have representatives here for that? If you approach the table. And give us, might as well get it right away. Give us your name and address.
Gloria Nicosia, Nicosia, address 50520 Newcastle, Chesterfield, Michigan 48047.
Thank you.
Greg Kieskin, 5165 Abbey Road in Rochester, owner.
Okay, good. Okay, Lauren, if you want to give us a background on that again?
Thank you, Chair Warnock. So this is a site plan that is in conjunction with the special land use because special land use approvals require site plan approval with them. So last planning commission, I'm sure everyone remembers, but the petitioner came forth with the original site plan. The current conditions didn't reflect the site, so we requested they bring a site plan that had the current conditions In the past, and in this case, we're not requiring a full, signed, sealed engineering stamp for a site plan, as they are not changing any of the conditions outside of the site. So that is why it looks a little bit atypical. It's a survey, though, so the dimensions are accurate. And we did a review of that, of the site plan with the site plan conditions as well. So, again, they are proposing to operate a auto repair shop in the IR district, which is a special land use for that. When going through the dimensional requirements, they are either meeting them or it's legally non-conforming. Regarding parking, I would say this is the area that there are the most kind of outstanding items. The parking requirement is contingent on the amount of service bays, and so we don't know how many service bays exactly they have, but they need 3 spaces per bay, so it's unclear if it's in compliance. The site plan they provided also does not delineate where the parking spaces are. It seems to be different from the previous one, so we would like the parking stalls identified, as well as the dimensions of the parking stalls and any barrier-free ones that are being used, so that we can determine if they're meeting the dimensional standards required for parking spaces, as well as the correct count. Additionally, we need the dimension for the driveway width. It appears to be in compliance, but we want to ensure that it's at least 30 feet wide per the ordinance. And then finally, the loading space. So the original site plan noted a loading space in the rear. We want to know if that's the intent, or if it's going to be inside. If it's going to be inside, that be noted on the site plan as well. Regarding landscaping, again, there are some items that are not in compliance, but they are legally non-conforming, and so that is okay. The signs, any signage would be requiring a separate sign permit at a later time. The exterior materials are compliant with the provisions of the ordinance, being brick. They are surrounded by IR zone parcels, therefore screening is not required, and they're not proposing any changes to the existing lighting. I've also included the reviews from the special land use from engineering and public safety. I believe public safety just noted sprinkler systems might be necessary depending on the size, and engineering had no concerns. So given that, we find that the zoning ordinance is mostly met, we recommend approval with the condition that they provide that information on the parking. So the amount of service bays, parking spaces, the dimensions of the stalls and maneuvering lanes, dimensions of the ingress and egress, and location of the loading space.
Thanks. Do we have any questions from the commission on this there? Go ahead, Frank.
Public safety commented on this, that they had to be in compliance with 2015 International Fire Code. I don't see where you're asking for that.
I would add that to the recommendations.
Okay.
And then also, on the engineering notes, I don't see anything about impacts on cars, traffic. And I think we talked about this the last meeting. Ever since Masonic, I went to the city manager. He said it's not public safety's job, but engineering to assess that. And I asked that be at least a note on everything that we do, that they have looked at traffic, and the traffic will or will not be impacted. And
Yeah, my understanding is engineering is looking at the site specifically, so the circulation within the site.
well, then you need to get with the city manager, because the city manager is the one that told me that. Okay? And I would expect to see that until somebody tells us. She tells us different. Yeah.
I would think need to be a traffic survey or something for that. Engineering does
They don't need a traffic
utilities.
survey.
No,
I mean, yeah, but when we did the one on Masonic next to the,
Right.
I'm still very concerned about that, because nobody looked at traffic. And first first accident that happens down there, you know, we're gonna hear about it, yeah. Especially since he hasn't cleared out all the stuff he told us he was gonna clear out. So, I think our job is to ensure public safety, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Anybody else have any comments on that?
Did you guys know about the fire?
And I believe she addressed it because she talked about the sprinklers, depending on how many square feet it is.
Right.
Yeah, the
So I am.
space isn't enough.
15 fire code, and I believe it has to be 12,000 square feet to
Right.
require the sprinklers.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of I have a lot of answers if you're ready to.
Oh, let's wait till we get this done, then, yeah, we'll let you do that. Any other questions or comments from the board? Nobody else? My only thing I had, too, was to just add as a recommendation that complying with the 2015 IFC, if we do proceed with that. I guess, well, why don't we go out to you then, and you have anything to add to the presentation or anything for us?
Well, I can just answer a few questions. Kelly Road was just completely resurfaced, and that's a brand-new approach and sidewalk done by, I assume, the City of Fraser. You said it had to be 30 feet? 30 feet?
Oh, sorry.
I was going to get up and show you.
You could take it with you.
Okay. If you see right there, it says 28-foot ingress egress easement, and then you can see on the right side of the approach how it goes a few more feet to the right. So I can measure it and have it put on the site, but I believe it's about a 32-foot approach. And then I physically counted, there are 36 parking spaces on where it says Lot 7, that's the south side of the property. And then there's 4 more to the right and 2 more handicap just in front of the front door. So there's just 40, I'd say 40 parking spaces.
And then I can add to the 5, we'll have 5 service bays.
And
Got more than enough parking.
yes,
Yeah.
and the way that Gloria's husband, Sam, has it set up, he's going to put the lifts inside. So it will be going through the overhead door you see on the south side of the building, and then it's a big open 8,000 square foot. And they do the newer, more late model cars. They're a more sophisticated shop. They're not pulling motors and doing older restoration cars or anything like that. So he has a very clean work environment, so he'll have a big open area, pull the car in, work on it, pull it outside. There's a very small front lobby office right in the vestibule as you walk in. They park the car outside, and then they call the customer and say your car's ready. So very, very rare to have an overnight
Yeah, the vehicle would be
inside.
inside being worked on.
Yeah.
You know, it's rare that it would be there, you know, sitting there for no reason without it being worked on.
Real quick again, now, is this the whole building you're taking?
It's the front.
Just the front area, and where would that be divided on there? About,
It goes to this door right back here.
okay.
When the building was first constructed, it was a 3-unit,
Yes.
multi-tenant, has 3 different addresses. So it would just be the front 8,000 square feet, and then there's just 1 bay in the back, and there's nothing in there. It's,
That was done after, because at first it was the alarm, or
Yeah.
the, Bell Company.
yeah, Bell and.
They had the whole building, so
And
they
the
had.
alarm company.
That's why I think I asked last time about inside stuff, because they did changes before
Yeah.
dividing it into 3. They got rid of a lot of, because they had areas for draftsmen, and
Yeah.
it was kind of unique, but going when they divided up into thirds, and the alarm company was in there, and that things changed a little that way, so. So I don't know are there any big changes that have to occur inside for this? So you got the big area in the garage area that'll work with that. Remember I talked about oil separators?
Yes.
And you're aware of what you would have to do with that?
Yes, Sam is her, he is.
Probably because you're already in business.
Yeah.
So you know. All right, and that's to just basically, so nobody, I don't know if everybody knows, but to protect our storm system. When a car pulls in there or anything that drips oil or comes off of stuff, it goes right into the drain, and that stops that from impacting our storm drain system.
Correct. And I do agree that it would not impact the traffic because Kelly is very quiet there. Masonic, 14 Mile is very busy going east and west, but this is just a shot up to Groesbeck. It's always pretty quiet there. My very good friend Gary Oakey has the body shop across the street, and I go there quite frequently, and it's a low traffic on that street.
Yeah, I agree.
There's Kelly Court there, but not a lot of even big trucks or anything too often.
Yeah.
Not like Groesbeck.
You don't get all the people taking shortcuts that much there.
No.
They do that on Garfield line, I can
Yes.
tell you that.
And
Lights just don't time.
I can add to that too, that we wouldn't create a lot more traffic. We don't take walk-in service, it's by appointment only. So we're balancing when vehicles are coming in and that.
Does the same vehicle sit there for a long time ever? Would it?
The only reason a vehicle would sit there is if we're waiting for parts, but normally it would be inside because we've already began work.
Okay. So they won't look like any are abandoned or anything, and they're already not, they don't look that way when they come into you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I wish my husband was able to come and speak, but he's very meticulous on perception, perception for customers, the city. It's everything to a lot of people. People don't want to bring their car to a place that looks
Right.
like a junkyard. We don't want to look like a junkyard either. So, that's a really big thing with him. And if a car is unfortunately something that we're not going to be able to fix, or, we say, unfortunately, this is just not something that we're interested in, find him somewhere else to go. But we do our best to create our perception as a business that we're here to do good work and,
Yeah, we
keep your car looking good.
appreciate that.
And then lastly, once Gloria and Sam go for their occupancy permit, they will also go for a permit for the sign. You see the two signs there? They just don't have the company logo or plexiglass in them. But there are two nice signs there that will get filled and occupied
Okay.
with permits.
Yes. And any work inside then that you say there'll be no changes? Are there going to be any permits required for anything inside? I don't know. You will for the oil separator or whatever you got to do and stuff
Yes.
like that.
And we're in the process of getting estimates for a new overhead door, which would require a permit, insulated overhead door with the little windows in it. So that would go through the building department, but we would get the
Yeah,
permit.
just check with them because
Yeah.
it may not need one. But if it's the existing opening and the opening staying the same,
Yeah, it's existing opening, it's
no,
there.
you don't need it. Yeah. Okay, anybody else here have questions up here? Nobody? Oh, Kathy?
Yes, how about trash removal? Will you have a dumpster on site, or
Yes.
where's your dumpster going to be located?
Well, I
On
would,
the back.
yeah, I would say in the back, so it's not visible from the street.
And I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. In the back of the, in the north, what is that? No, that's, yeah, so
So
the,
you're going to put it back in that fenced-in yard that's really unsightly, right? That's where all the equipment is from the other,
Oh, I've been removing it all.
I just drove by yesterday, I didn't see much of a change on the site.
I cleared out all of this right here,
Okay.
this section, and I'm just working on what they have some stuff on this.
Do you own that building behind also, sir? Okay.
I'm talking to the owner. He's currently releasing it to a food truck company, and
Okay.
I'm talking to him about purchasing it. It is very unsightly,
It is.
very, very.
I really didn't notice much difference when I was drove by.
When he bought it about 9 years ago, he was an HVAC business. And he one day was just gone, and he's renting it to a food truck company. But I'm talking to him, and we're having a very solid conversation. And if I were to purchase it, I would paint the back building, and then I'm also painting the north side. You can see the cinder block on the north side.
Right.
Yeah. And they'll all be painted the same, a nice soft beige.
Okay. Ms. Sarah, would he have to comply to the dumpster requirements back in that location then, and show it on the site plan?
Let me pull up the provisions on the industrial because they're a little bit different than the commercial.
Okay, thank you. In between, if you can help me.
Sure.
You have 2 bay doors, no, 2 overhead doors, and you have 5 bays. So you drive, a bay is where they put the car up on the, okay, that's a bay. And they're all indoors, and you're driving through and using a bay.
One door,
Okay,
and they'll all be accessible.
okay, thank you for that explanation, thank you.
Yeah, it's a much cleaner operation when you go through one door, you have an open 8,000 square foot space, and they go into the lift to be worked on, and then go out the same door they came in.
Right, yes, I can understand.
So there'll be more traffic than normal coming out of that overhead door. So it's a blind spot, and you do have this business in the back that shares that access. So it's kind of tough. So is there any kind of things you can do to make it safer, maybe so that when they know somebody's coming out?
Yeah, they have the mirrors that they post, and the round ones, and you can see what's coming and what's not.
Good.
And then we also we asked the McKiernan door on Groesbeck. We also asked if there was when the door goes up, that a light could flash on the outside. And he said they're doing that now for safety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So when you see the light flashing, you know that door's
You're going
opening.
to watch then, at least. Okay. That'll help that.
Yeah, the
And I believe that wall that protrudes out on the south side, you can see that brick wall. I believe that's where they had the old dumpster behind that wall. So you really couldn't see it from Kelly. It was kind of a shield, or how they're doing it now with the dumpsters. They have something around them.
Any other comments?
Aren't dumpsters required to be in an enclosure?
only in commercial districts. Those provisions aren't carried over to the industrial.
Nobody else? Go ahead, Renee.
Where is the loading zone going to be?
It's just, they get parts delivered small in boxes to them. It's basically handheld, like FedEx deliveries.
And they would come through that, there'll be an access door. Isn't there an
Yes,
access
it's
door?
there now.
Next.
You don't get in through the front.
Right, they'll go through, there's an access door. I think it's right before the
just-
brick
just
wall.
before it.
Yeah, just before the brick wall that they can enter to deliver parts.
And is that where customers come in?
No,
How do they,
the customers will come in through the front door.
oh, they do come through the front?
Yeah,
still. Okay.
the parts will come through the
Yes,
side door.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody want to make a motion at all?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and I apologize. Ms. Sarah, do you have whatever that site plan was when they first came in front of us for the special land use? Was it something different than the survey that we saw the first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
got it.
it was the original site plan in the 80s, I believe.
It was one from long ago.
And to address Kathy, what's different is the parking in front of the front door now has 2 handicapped and 4 parkings to the right of the entrance, which the original site plan, all the parking was to the left.
Okay. I mean, we talked about the striping, that you're going to be striping because they're not striped, and, Okay.
They are striped, it's just worn away, we're going to
Or-
restripe.
Yes, I know they're lightly striped.
Yeah, that's how I counted them all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, because I had forgotten to pull that up. Thank you, that helps me. So this is the site plan, Ms. Sierra, you're going to use plus with all the additions that we.
Correct. The one on the screen and the one that's provided in your packet is the one that I would ask to be updated.
Okay, thank you, because I was struggling.
Parking hasn't changed from that
Okay,
original one?
right.
Is it still the original striping and everything, or, I mean,
I would think so. You can see it, it's just faded.
Yeah, it's very faint, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
In front of the door, yeah.
I didn't count on the first second.
At the last meeting, you said you didn't do a site plan because it costly and you didn't want to do it until you were approved. You've been approved. Are you going to do a complete site plan?
No, I had George Jerome Company do a survey, which showed the only issue was left over from the original request was we felt the parking had changed. Somebody picked up on that on the board, and they were correct. It was changed in the front right, in front of the building, and the survey updated that.
yeah, I noticed that was a brand-new one that George did for you, yeah.
Does that do everything you want, Laura?
With the additions that were noted, yes.
And then-
Anybody want to take a stab?
Sure.
All right.
Make a motion on site plan SLU 25-02-33-341 Kelly Road, complete card. Care to approve the site plan as amended with the following conditions as noted in this. That to provide service bays and parking spaces which must comply with section 322, I'm sorry, the four items that you have, or do you want me to read them all?
We should probably read it.
If you reference the staff report and the date, it should be fine.
Okay.
Or if you need to make any modifications, that would.
And then additionally, that they meet the provisions that the public safety has supplied. So,
Meaning compliance with, we could just, compliance with the 2015 International Fire Code requirements?
I would like to mention that compliance with all other applicable codes and ordinances, like the fire code and things of that nature, is essentially required for a certificate of occupancy. If the commission wants to specifically add that, they can, but that's required. That's my understanding.
They're going to get 5 inspectors out there, and one of them's the fire.
The whole gotcha with it too is the fact that the space that they're working is 8,000 and the sprinklers don't kick in till
Right.
12. So it's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So just as is.
Okay, do we have support?
I'll support.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So let's take a roll call on that.
Commissioner Barr,
Yes?
Commissioner Zarnicki,
I'm going to vote no. And I would like to explain why after the vote.
Commissioner Farina,
yes.
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Chair Warnick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
speak, please? I voted no. I personally am struggling voting on something that I can't visually see on a site plan. That's my reason. I want you in the city. I welcome you to the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next steps would be to submit an amended site plan with those conditions to the building department. We'd approve it administratively, and then you can apply for your certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Okay, so just
Yeah.
so we're clear, the amount of the spaces, correct? And the approach.
The width of the approach.
The spaces also, they need to be dimensioned, even if it's just one and it says typical, that's fine. And then, and the ADA ones as well.
Okay, perfect.
And then note where the loading is.
You also want the site plan to note how many parking spaces, and like a number?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's in the report that I believe I emailed you, those conditions at the end.
And you go to the zoning ordinance for the sizes of the parking spaces, and probably gonna have to restripe and everything then, right? Was that a condition, or as long as they're,
If it's on the
As long as
site
they're
plan,
visible.
it'll need to be visible on the site, yes.
okay, I think we have all that. Congratulations.
Welcome to the City of Fraser.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
Thanks.
Adios.
Night. You're welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting.
Don't bother.
Okay, let's move on to the next. It would be 7C zoning ordinance rewrite presentation and discussion. Yes, sir.
It's the fun part now. I think as all of you are aware, that we've been undergoing a zoning ordinance rewrite from the current one. It's about 30 years old. And so that started about a year ago in July, so this is a kind of a timeline of what's been happening since then. So we did some public engagement. The steering committee has met several times to discuss high-level direction, as well as getting into the uses and the districts and the use standards. So from this commission, Frank and Kathy have been serving on the steering committee and have been meeting. Again, we've met probably 5 times, I believe. And from zoning board, Roseanne and Emma. And then from council, the mayor and Patrice have been. So that's the steering committee.
City manager.
The city manager, yep, city manager has also been kind of a staff liaison as well. So from this, we have a first draft. We're kind of in like a draft 2 point something. We're still working through. We're still working through staff comments as well. So we have engineering comments. We have comments from the building official. And we have legal comments. We're still working through the legal comments. If you can imagine, those take the longest. And so right now, we're in September 2025, and the first row on the bottom, it's probably going to be shifted a month or so, because we're still working through those staff comments. And once we've got a full second draft, we will present it to the steering committee, get feedback, and then we'll be back to planning commission, hopefully smoothing out some things and getting a recommendation to council. They'll do their readings, and then new ordinance. So some background on this a little bit as well. This is MISTA funded, so we got a $50,000 grant from MISTA, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, to do that. They asked that we address housing in there, so you'll see some housing things later on. Let's know on that as well. So tonight, the objective is to kind of get into a little bit of high level of what are the biggest things that changed. Of course, welcome discussion on these items. And, it's a Herculean effort. We're not trying to go through word by word, line by line, the zoning ordinance. And again, we've got a steering committee who's been doing a lot of the detail work as well. So hopefully getting the kind of big ideas out there. If you've got follow-ups too that you want to discuss, I think everyone has my contact. You can email, call, and we can discuss further as well. So what's changed? At a high level, organization, so a lot of things have moved around. We think it's a clearer flow. Some of the things currently are nested in like environmental provisions, and it's a little bit hard to find, so they kind of break them out a little further. You can see the organization in the table of contents. As Commissioner Zardnicki pointed out, my Roman numerals are off again. I think I'm just going to go back to numbers, because we don't even use Roman numerals in here, and I've really been fighting with them, and I'm not winning.
America, that's what we use, is numbers.
So I think we're just going to go back to the numbers and forget the Roman numerals. So I apologize for the duplication. I think it starts over at 5, somewhere in there. Of course, the zoning districts and zoning map has changed a little bit with that, permitted uses and special land uses. We also have actual landscaping requirements proposed, whereas a current one is a little more flexible on just, landscape and show us what you've done. And then the parking, loading, access management's changed a bit as well. And then finally, administrative organization. So that's into the review processes, site plans, things like that. So we'll talk about each one of these a little bit more. This is just kind of the teaser. So, unfortunately, these districts did not make the cut. The rec district only had only part of one parcel. It was the golf course, so that's gone. It's, I believe, a residential district now, but it allows for the golf course for recreation. The OS only had 4 parcels, all of them adjacent to CN, kind of got absorbed into that, and the OR only had 1 parcel in the whole city, and it was adjacent to IR, so that we got absorbed into that. Along with that, we also changed the name of the industrial districts from IR and IC to LI and GI. So LI is light industrial, GI is general industrial. We think it's a little more intuitive to what those districts are intended to do. So when you see those on the map, that's what that is. A new district is born, though, and this is from the master plan. It's the transitional residential district. So it's intended to kind of provide an additional residential buffer between the more traditional residential areas and more commercial areas. So you'll see that on the map as well, represented by the abbreviation RT. And this is what the draft zoning map looks like. It largely follows the future land use map. One area where it doesn't is the corner of 14 in Utica, where the Sheets conditional rezoning is. So instead of kind of continuing the CBD around that and having that as just kind of one spot in it, we kind of are focusing the central business district around the 4 corners of Garfield and 14 Mile. Another note is we did change the CBD from community business district to central business district. That's more typical naming convention. That's the only reason. Any comments or questions on kind of the zoning map or those?
What's the formal way of changing all of that? Is that a separate thing than just adopting the zoning ordinance?
So the zoning map would be adopted with the zoning ordinance. Since it's like 11 or more parcels, it doesn't have to be individually mailed and notice. It's a newspaper notice with that. But it would be adopted in conjunction with the zoning ordinance.
So who worked on these changes in this? How did they come about? I'm just wondering because my house is now light industrial.
Sorry. So this is from the future. This is from the future land use map. So it's mainly future land use map unless, again, something happened.
Something must have happened because that wasn't in the future land use for that area.
Awfully similar, though, for residential, low density, and light industrial, so that...
Yeah, but it was, you could tell it's the gray up there on Garfield right in front of the high school on the east side of the road. That's all industrial all the way up now.
Let me check on that one specifically.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what sticks out like a sore thumb to me.
Everyone always finds their house first. It is.
Yeah,
that is how
exactly.
That is how this works. I'm not sure exactly. So let me go back and look at that. I do know those are all houses currently. So let me see what that.
Not all. There is one that's
There's
a
one?
business in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So just be interesting to find out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check into that one. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, so I am the one who created this in GIS. So that was my
Oh, okay.
process. Was future land use unless the Utica, the Sheets parcel happened. That was an adjustment, but otherwise, it's mainly following that. So I'll look into that.
Okay.
Any other kind of comments or questions on those first zoning districts? Okay, awesome. Kind of talking about some of the uses, like I mentioned, the residential uses. I think one of the biggest things is accessory dwelling units. So these do have additional standards. It's not just a kind of a free-for-all on, you can have an accessory dwelling unit. You can add density willy-nilly. There are specific standards and lot sizes, and those are in the use standards in section 3259 of the new one. So another kind of new thing is that we have some uses that will have A's, and that's permitted as accessory use. So you can't just have this, it has to be accessory to a permitted use that's already allowed. And this permitted use would be, of course, a single-family home or a single-unit home. Other than that, single detached dwelling units, those are your single-family homes permitted in all the residential districts by right, and then special land use in the CN. Attached, single attached, those are townhomes. You can see special land use in the low density, and then permitted in the rest of them, special land use again in CN. Duplexes, currently, there's no place that we permit those by right, so we're permitting them by right in the RM, RT, RH, and special land use in the CN. Triplexes, just the RT, RH, and then special land use in CN. And then multifamily are permitted in the high-density residential, special land use in transition, and CN. And then upper-level residential, again, this is a little optimistic, but, you know, if the CB Central Business District develops as a traditional downtown, then it would be permitted there. So any questions, concerns, thoughts on these residential uses?
I spent Labor Day out in Romeo, and on their main street, they had the parade, and they have what I consider a perfect CBD area, because on the bottom, it's businesses, then there are apartments above it, and how do we, I mean, we've said we want a CBD area. How do we push forward? Do you have any ideas on how we could push forward towards that kind of thing?
Yeah, a couple thoughts. They don't necessarily exist solely in zoning, but reestablishment of a TIF authority, whether that be the DDA, which I know Fraser formerly had, or a CIA might be more appropriate, a corridor improvement authority. They operate very similarly, but I think maybe a corridor one on 14 also might be a direction, since it is a prominent corridor. Additionally, you know, designated resources towards economic development is also, would also only help that, right? Finding funding sources to attract developers or the types of development that the city's interested in.
We used to have an economic development coordinator, Patty Jameson, that would do that and go out and kind of
Market the city.
market the city.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We had one in
Throughout-
Fraser?
Yeah, throughout the whole country.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Sometimes it takes that and getting into certain publications or whatever and saying, hey, this is available. And I had the downtown district, I had a big area that Silverman's from Chicago was interested in. It was 5 to 8 acres, and they came, then that was up till 2007, 2008. And then they were all excited about it, and then all of a sudden, the economy went bad, and they just dropped it there. So I worked with it. So it's a matter of just getting the people, word of mouth, whatever it takes. So sometimes somebody you know that's got money or wants to do a development like that, you could do a live-in works thing, maybe coordinate something. There's all kind of things. It's just going to take, it just don't happen like that. It's one of those things you got to say, hey, we want to do this. And then you could, you know, everybody wants to be like the next Royal Oak or something like that. But it's those kind of things. You got to start somewhere. So really, it's
I would say in my experience and in working in other communities, it's having that designated person who is doing that, following up that. I think having a economic development director of some sort, you know, and especially if you get a good one, they're worth their weight in gold, and
Right.
you know they tap into those resources.
go to conference.
I know it's been floated around, you know, potentially engaging with the RRC program that kind of taps into some funding. That's not like if you do this, it'll fix everything. It's just opens the door for other avenues of funding or pre-development assistance, things like that. I know it's been discussed. I don't know the direction that the city wants to go with that.
Right. All right.
Regarding commercial uses, tattoo shops now permitted in the commercial neighborhood, CBD, CG, LI, GI. I think these kind of businesses have come a long way since it was written in the 90s, and there's a lot less kind of stigma. They're also like a different type of business. They're a lot more commercialized, I would say. So another one, the adult businesses. So we had several discussions on this at the steering committee. Currently, there's special land use in the IC. And so what we did is this thing called daylighting. So essentially bringing them into the open, right, if they exist. So they're permitted as special land use only in the commercial general district. They are also subject to additional standards. So you can see those standards in the use standards a little further in the ordinance, but one of them is, I believe, there's buffering standards from certain uses. There's also can't be in like a strip mall type thing. So essentially, though, the thought is, and it would still have to come before Planning Commission for approval with a special land use, but the thought is that instead of hiding these away where no one sees them, no one knows what's happening, they're now front and center. If they exist, right, they're front and center. They can't hide.
What do you mean by adult business?
It could be anything like, like a Lover's Lane type deal. It could be a studio, things like that.
The first thing I thought was a strip club. I mean, we don't want them at Fraser. And that's the first thing when I seen.
Well, so the thing is you can't actually outright exclude something from zoning. So there has to be able to be permitted somewhere. Otherwise, like that's a state law. So that's why, you make it a special land use. You have discretion over it. So a strip club wouldn't go in unless you approved it.
Fair.
And we'd have to apply our special land use standards to that application.
Go to city council and then approve it anyway.
The final thing here, just noting, again, I was just noting some of the biggest changes on this is that we added some uses that are a little more modern, the artisan maker spaces, breweries, along with wineries, distilleries, and mobile food vending, fancy word for food trucks. So those are all added in with provisions and standards as well. Any other thoughts, concerns, secrets you want to share?
Oh, you don't want to hear this one.
Okay. Understood. All right.
We're just going to open a business now.
Well, you'd have to abstain from the vote. That's a conflict of interest. The next item I wanted to discuss is the parking, loading, access management. I did include some page numbers if you wanted to find it in the hard copy that was provided.
Helpful.
Page 95.
Helps me as well. So the minimum requirements, some things shifted a little bit, but I would say overall they're fairly the same as the current ones. The uses, it reflects the uses now because the uses changed. We also have provisions about reduction for minimum off-street parking standards. Right now, there's an allowance in certain commercial districts, and it requires banked parking, all that. This is a little more streamlined and usable because it doesn't require the same amount of space to be had on the parcel. Additionally, we also have a maximum off-street parking requirement. So this is to help limit the impervious surface in the city so that there's not, I would say that typically developers aren't going to do this, but just in case, there's not a sea of parking when only, the first 10 spots are being used. Shared parking as well, so we've got a lot of lots that kind of share a parking lot, so there's language on that. Specifically, we also have we have barrier-free spots. It is federal law, but now it's also reflected in the code. We've got Kathy's favorite section, the bicycle parking. requirements. So that's now, instead of a request, it would be a requirement for developments that meet a certain threshold. So it's not, if it's, there's going to be 2 cars parking here, it's not that. But if there's more than 5, then, one's required. It kind of scales up from there. We also have preferred bike parking infrastructure per the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycle Professionals. So the off-street layout stayed fairly the same with parking structure development, off-street loading, access management. None of that really changed. So any questions on, I guess, or thoughts on parking, loading, access management? Does anyone want to get rid of the bike parking? Just kidding.
There are some spots in the city where there's up to 8 cars in front of a house.
Hey, man, don't out me.
Commissioner Farina, can you speak into the mic? I can't hear. What did you?
Speak into the mic.
Yeah.
There are areas in Fraser where there are like 8 to 10 cars in front of a house. We're not allowing that.
In the road,
Yeah.
I don't deal with the road. Well, so I think, I don't know what the ordinance is on parking or parking overnight. I think some roads are different. We wouldn't regulate that through zoning, though, typically, I would say. That's more of a, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's more of a code of ordinances or a city code.
Public safety and code enforcement.
I'm going to make a note just to see if there's anything that we could do enforcement-wise.
Actually, it's on Roseanne's Road. I go and pick her up for a meeting, and this house has 10 cars, and there's something about she rents overnight vehicles to people out of her house. And there's like 10 vehicles.
Well, that might be a different issue.
This has been brought up, actually. And I Googled it after the mayor said it, and now I keep getting ads, but I don't remember the ads aren't working, because I don't remember the site.
I'm going to make a note and look into what we can do. Perhaps for something like that specifically, but just more generally.
It's a business out of the home, but it generates something that you never did with home businesses.
They could use it more to get people to the adult club.
Well, they used to use the library parking lot, and they finally went in, the police went in and cleared them out of the parking lot up there. And now they're out.
It's a newer fad. I know people that do it, and they make money just buying a few cars, and then they lease them out daily.
Yeah, I forget the name, but I do hope no one says it, because my phone is always listening, and I don't want another. But yeah, that is one I think we're gonna have to put our heads together on, because it is a newer thing. So we'll see. Well, however, if anyone else is regulating those ride share type uses.
That would be good. 'Cause it is a concern.
Any other comments, concerns, questions?
Nothing about chickens?
She hasn't gotten there.
Alrighty, landscaping and screening, and that's on 109. So we have general landscape requirements. It discusses the minimum planting requirements, irrigation, species variety, things of that nature, prohibited species, installation requirements. We also now have required landscaping, so site landscaping, so things as specific as, 1 tree per 1,000 feet of non-paved surface. Before, we didn't have any specificity to kind of a general. We had the specifics came in the form of the right-of-way, the frontage landscaping. So we have that as well, the frontage landscaping. We also have residential frontage landscaping. This was one, the steering committee kind of went back and forth. It's one deciduous tree per street frontage. So,
What frontage?
street frontage. So corner lot 2, but everyone else 1. You need,
I have to put in 3.
I'm saying what we're proposing. I don't know I still don't know what happened there.
There's math right there, man.
And this pretty much comes up only with new developments,
Yeah,
because you really can, and, I mean, if the city does do something, I mean, if there is something in the city, it's just that it's pretty well developed. So there's always that chance of somebody buying out an area and putting in a sub like he's doing on Hayes.
yeah.
So that's where these come into play.
Yeah, we also have, parking lot landscaping, and then it kind of goes into the required screening. So we've got required parking lot screening, screening from residential uses, dumpster screening, outdoor storage, roof-mounted, and then ground-mounted equipment screening standards. And then we also have a tree preservation section as well, so specifying the minimum size, and then if they need to provide a survey with the trees if they're clearing a large area. I believe that's it. Any comments, concerns, questions?
In the tree preservation, is there a section that says that you cannot remove a certain diameter or caliber tree? And if you do, you have to replace trees equal to the amount of caliber that you're removing? For example, if you had a 6-inch caliber, that you would have to replace that 6-inch caliber if it was a tree that was diseased, that you'd have to replace it with 2 3-inch calibers or something to that effect?
Each
So
14.
So we do define landmark trees. We've got some common species and the diameter, the DBH diameter at breast height, that would trigger a replacement.
Okay.
We also have a general all-tree diameter breast height if the tree's not indicated in here, but is that size. So landmark trees, so if it qualifies as a landmark tree, it has to be replaced at a rate of 100% of the total diameter breast height. And the protected, if it's a protected trees, which is all trees 8 inches or greater, then it's 50% replace rate.
It's on page 114 and 115.
Does that include trees in front of people's houses? That, our sub is like 30 years old now, and a lot of people, the trees have dried out and they've never put another tree back in. Does this say that they have to put a tree back in?
Hope not. Not everybody can afford it. You move to Fraser, your tree dies, you're gonna spend 20 grand to put a new tree in it, whatever it is.
So,
Gentlemen, we can't hear you unless you're speaking into the
You speak into the
microphone.
microphones.
A lot of conversation I'm missing. I'm sure Joanne is.
I certainly am, yeah.
Does that mean that if a residential tree in front of somebody dies, like my neighbor next door, or across the street, their tree dies, do they have to replace it?
so currently, this tree replacement, the first standard says for any project requiring site plan approval, special exception, which should be land use approval, subdivision plat approval, or condominium approval, a tree survey shall be prepared. So currently, I believe the intent is just for like a new development if they're clearing.
A big thing that'll come back to is exactly what we talked about. You'll see further in my comments from last time about old approvals. So if they got approved for a tree here, because we had for new homes, had to have it in the right of way, and 5 years from now, they're gone. Who's the tree police? That's it. Who's going to say anything? And it comes to something like that. Nobody's going around and counting the trees. We did it as a 1-year thing before. We'd get a bond of $300. We'd hold it for a year. If that tree was still there and alive, we gave the money back to the developer. and that's all we can do. And we can't babysit the trees and stuff, so what do you do with something like that?
I will say this preservation is more intended for, like for example, the Sunbelt rental. It would have been great to have made them do a tree survey and replaced some of the trees that they removed on that lot. You mentioned there's not many undeveloped lots on Fraser. The ones that are pretty heavily wooded. It would be great to have them replace, a certain amount of the trees that they're going to have to remove to develop. So that's the intent of this one. It's the other landscape standards are intended to kind of hopefully address, but I do get your point of, the follow through. Sure. Any other items? Again, if things come up, keep you up at night, feel free to send me an email. I'll read it in the morning. Okay. Administrative organization and procedures is going to start on page 133. So the first thing it does is lay out the types of reviews. So our current ordinance does discuss zoning permit, but it's a little, it's not as clear as I'd like it, so this is a lot clearer now. So zoning permits, what requires a zoning permit. We also have administrative site plan review. So administrative site plan review would not come to planning commission. It would come to the city planner, which is me, but this is just for minor things. So it's not approving a new, a new build. It's not doing special land uses, anything like that. Again, on page 133 starts the criteria. So things like remodeling an existing structure that doesn't modify the building footprint. Because currently our zoning ordinance says that anytime there's a building permit issue, like anytime there's a building permit, it requires site plan approval, which we don't practically enforce. You don't come here, they don't come here if they're replacing a window. Addition, expansion of existing structure does not increase the gross interior space by 2,000 feet or 20%. The building, individual, single attached, unit developments up to 4 units, so townhomes, a townhome row of 4. Addition, modification, relocation, non-residential accessory structures or dumpster enclosures, such as change in building height that doesn't change the floor area, decrease in building size that does not impact site grading, minor changes to building or site to accommodate barrier-free regulations, additions, modifications, substitutions of approved or existing landscaping or site lighting, internal rearrangement of parking lot, does not significantly change site circulation, create new parking spaces, or require installation of new pavement or regrading. So as necessary, if you can gather from some of the language in here, it would be forwarded on to the engineer for approval as well, just to verify if it is changing those elements. And if it is, then it would be sent to Planning Commission for review. So Planning Commission would still see new construction, structural alterations that do qualify over those thresholds, addition, outdoor storage area, parking areas, site condominiums, residential developments with 5 or more units, or anything that I say, I think they should go to Planning Commission, not administrative. Any thoughts on that direction? I know it's a shift from kind of the status quo. Okay. Another item is, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, is we have 2 versions of a site plan, and that kind of came out today in an example form, but sometimes it's not necessarily practical to require a full plan set, signed, stamped, sealed, et cetera. If certain conditions are met, it's not changing the site, things of that nature. I'm trying to pull up real quick what triggers it.
While you're looking, today was a perfect example. I mean, you got a place that's really just a third of the total project, and you want to make him put together, a site plan that meets current standards and things. It's kind of tough. It's pretty much an existing site plan that, you can only can't make them change everybody else's stuff. That's there too. Just one of those unique things.
So that's another change is there's kind of like 2 tiers of site plan now. And other than that, the only major change I would say would be, we still have provisions about variances, about appeals, administrative appeals, about special land uses. One thing to note is public hearings. This kind of came up from the sheets, but there was a consensus that rezonings, use variances, and conditional rezonings should require a poster or a sign on the site, and that the city should not pay for said sign on said site. So those requirements as well with how large the letters have to be, things like that, just so people don't say, well, I put my little paper up, it's there. So there is that we can hold them to for those kinds of those kinds of developments. And I think that's
Thought that was a law. I used to go post for a rezoning. I'd post something right up front, and now you go, some places put all this elaborate big billboard there and stuff like that, and I just would post it, it would just be a standard piece of paper in a laminated thing and put it on a stake in front, but I haven't been seeing that.
not a law, but it could be in 3 to 12 months, maybe. We'll see how long. So that's a change. We also have standards now and procedure for a conventional rezoning. So if you recall the rezoning on Hayes, that was a traditional, not a conditional rezoning, and we relied on sort of best practices. So now we actually have standards to review against. A lot of them follow those best practices, but it's still good to have that in there. I believe a lot of the work that the attorneys and I will be doing is kind of in the procedural and in the beginning elements of it. So we're still working through kind of the specifics of those. I don't think it would change anything from a high level, just making sure that everything in there is actually, makes sense and is enforceable. There might be some changes with pulling out. The Planning Commission is currently outside of the zoning ordinance. It actually might have to go back out there, just how the charter is, I believe, was the issue. But again, these are all kind of things that aren't too important to kind of how the Planning Commission interacts with the zoning ordinance. It just talks about how you're existing. Any thoughts on that? I know that was kind of a lot of information. Another element I wanted to mention, we're going backwards now to page 86. I wanted to mention this because Planning Commission has seen a couple of these cases. So we have a building material schedule of regulations that would apply to all buildings except single detached dwellings, single families, duplexes, and triplexes. And so this is, again, to be more development friendly, so they don't have to come back to Planning Commission every time they want to redo their facade. Mm-hmm. And it allows for, masonry as primary and secondary. So primary is 75% of the first floor, 50% upper floor, and then secondary is 25% of first floor, and then 50% of upper floor. So it allows, of course, masonry across the board, certain concrete as well, except for in the residential districts, if there's a commercial. Concrete masonry units only as primary in the CG, light industrial and general industrial. Siding only as secondary. Again, this is not residential, only commercial. Stucco as, again, secondary. It can be primary in the CG. And then metal panel, primary only in the industrial districts, which is kind of what we've been seeing a shift to. Any thoughts on this table?
So your secondary, you got it as a percentage, and I guess just calculating all that and coming up, we just wait till somebody submits something? Or is this, this is something where you're talking about
So they
can
would submit
change
a
their
building
facade,
permit.
so-
Yeah, they'd submit a building permit. We'd do the calculation based on this. If it didn't meet this, we'd say
Right.
revise, resubmit. Following that.
So the only primary, like that Harbor Freight on the bottom is, 80% ephes. So that would be a primary, right?
It's a little hard to tell. I think it's actually a siding in there. I think that's metal.
Oh, okay.
The ephes, there is ephes on the top picture, on the top.
Right.
Yeah, that top bar is ephes. Bar is not the architectural correct word.
And that's the only thing I would say, though, if they start going crazy with something and not coming to the planning commission and making a change that is way out of the ordinary. Now, a lot of them have been just places like on Utica that had that area and they just changed it to ephes. And it was basically like that, which you would say is 25% prop. So instead of coming to us, it's something that you can allow then.
And I will say, I think that this is designed so that none of the combinations can get too kind of, crazy. If you find a combination that you're like, this is crazy, let me know. But I think it allows them to not have to, pay a fee to seek planning commission, come before, wait a month, 2 months, depending on when the date falls.
Some of them, you'd rather see them put the money into the building because it looks so bad, and if they're going to fix it up.
Right. So I think it helps, again, streamline that and helps them make improvements to their building easier. Okay. Awesome. Well, that was pretty fun and painless, right? The next steps, if anyone has any general questions or things that you were reading through the ordinance that you're like, actually, I want to discuss this, we can do that at this time. Moving forward, I have another meeting scheduled with the attorneys. I think we're scheduled for next week. We're going to keep working through that draft. Once we've got that polished, we'll schedule, hopefully in October, reviewing this draft 2 with the steering committee. Then we'll edit that based on steering committee and then bring it back to planning commission, hopefully getting close to a recommendation for council. So again, if you have comments, please let me know now.
If there's anybody else that might agree with me, I don't know, but personally, we got this last Wednesday
Sure.
by email, and Friday, hard copy, and it was a holiday weekend. I left on Thursday night, and it's like, I did not take that with me to
I'm hearing
throughout
you had
my
all
Labor
weekend to
Day
read
weekend.
it.
So I just breezed through some
Sure.
things, and I've got mistakes and things that don't coordinate with each other.
Sure.
And real quick, I'll just tell you real quick, it's swimming pools, and one says 24 inches, well, I have to relate back to the Michigan Building Code too, because these are items that the building code requires, and now you're throwing in things that don't agree with the building code, Michigan Building Code, and aren't we required to enforce the Michigan Building Code, the residential code? So when you come up with a swimming pool being 24 inches or less, and then it says somewhere else for the enclosure for swimming pools greater than 24 inches. So your greater and greater than or equal to are not coordinating. So you really need to go through that, and it basically becomes a coordination thing of just making sure what you said over here is the same thing you said over here. And that's what I found right away. So that's just looking real quick. So that's one thing I saw.
Do you have a page number?
No, I didn't. I just went to the definition of swimming pools and to the barrier requirements for swimming pools.
Okay.
So the Michigan Building Code adds another thing too, where it has ands. So 24 inches or less than 24. Now I'm kind of confusing without it in front of me. But it also says and 5,000 gallons of water. So 5,000 gallons of water have an effect on what requires a permit, and that's what they use for what is used for swimming pool barriers and everything. So if it doesn't meet the definition of a swimming pool, it doesn't need a barrier. So it's kind of, I mean, just go through all that and kind of get it coordinated maybe with the building official. But the things didn't match. So that just popped out at me right away out of all that big book. So it's going to take some time to go through it, and that was trying to do something, you know, in a short time, one night, just looking through.
Sure, and yeah, I understand it's, you know, a near 200-page document, so there's definitely a significant amount of time between the finalizing of draft 2, the presenting of draft 2 to the steering committee, and the revising. So, you know, next planning commission, we can also hold a space to discuss anything that came up.
That's what I would
with the
like.
review as well. I think that's appropriate. Also, if you want to send me an email with a comment, I'd appreciate it.
Another thing I had, just from looking real quick, was we're back to impervious surfaces then. And you gave impervious surfaces as a deck. How does a deck become an impervious surface? First off, what is an impervious surface? It's something that stops the flow of water through into the ground. And a deck doesn't do that. Neither does a piece of concrete in your backyard where you put a fire pit on or something. The water still stays and goes in the ground surrounding it. So I'm a little, the impervious surface thing is really throwing me for a loop that I don't agree with. But that's just my personal feelings. I'd appreciate input from others. If you get a chance, read that impervious surface. But why would you count a deck, especially when you're limited now with impervious surfaces, and you're thinking of concrete? Well, a deck is not concrete, and you have ground underneath it, and it usually has spaces between the deck boards, and water still goes down into the ground like it's supposed to. And that's what our impervious surface ordinance is to take care of water that has nowhere to run off or creates a runoff where it doesn't belong. So when you think about that, I just need more input. I need you to look at that too, because I just don't agree with it. So there's an agreement thing. That's something else. It's not like finding a mistake, unless that is a mistake by definition of impervious surface. I don't know where all this stuff came up with. You had a steering committee. Did they have input into that, or did you just come up with a zoning ordinance from somewhere else and try to incorporate it into our 4-square-mile city? I don't know if it came from a 36-square-mile township or if it comes from a big city. That's where things are different, and I didn't like my first exposure to this. I'm just being truthful. So there's a lot of things I want to look through here, and I don't know if anybody agrees with me.
I agree.
So I just think we need to take some time at it and not be rushed at it. So I know you got to review this at drafts and do all this stuff, but I think it really needs more time than even that for all of us to go through it, and maybe the zoning board too. It's great to have the steering committee, but they don't represent all of us when it comes down to the final say-sos.
That's true.
So that was what I saw in only an hour or two. So I really need time for me personally. Anybody else feel that too, that you really need to take that time? That's the only input I have today. Kathy?
Mr. Chair, first of all, it is a voluminous document, and our steering committee did it more or less by section too, because it was too much for us to do word for word and page by page, just so you understand. Ms. Sayre, when we put this new zoning ordinance, once it's adopted, we put it on the website, is it going to be interactive? Like in some sections, you say, you reference another section. Can we click on that and it pops us off to that particular section?
So ultimately, it is going to be up in Municode in the same format. So how Municode has the cross links, they'll do that as well.
What code?
Municode, it's the website that hosts. the zoning
Okay,
ordinance.
okay. And so however that's drafted is the way this is going to be on the web?
It'll be input in the same format. So we'll provide Municode a Word document, and they do the cross links and all of that.
Okay.
We have to tell them what section, but they'll do the
Right.
links.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Tuller, is that you?
Yeah, I would just love to see a path and like a spot in the ordinance for us to be able to keep some chickens. I saw that they were not allowed in the ordinance still, and the city of Ferndale has a nice ordinance that I think appeases any concerns that people would have with keeping chickens. Let's just face it, these egg prices are not going down, and 4 chickens can provide an entire family eggs for a year, and it's very like small impact and easy to do. The city of Ferndale, like I said, has a fantastic ordinance where they require you can only do up to 6. They have to be fully contained, and then there's also like permits and like a yearly fee and inspection required to make sure that they're free of any like pests and rats and stuff and anything that is going to potentially impact that. But like, I mean, I've got like 0.39 acres. I could put a small 4x4x6 chicken coop and it would be nowhere near anybody at all. And right now the ordinance just doesn't allow it. And I'd love to see a path forward for us to be able to allow something like that in the city.
The times they are changing.
I will say it was discussed in length, both in steering committee and through the administration, and the consensus was to not allow, so that's why you don't see it in there.
Yeah.
I think it's, similar to it's a disagreement of just opinion on what, but
Sure.
that's, I guess, the rationale for why that's not there.
Okay. So is there do more people need to say that they want something like that? Or is that just like sorry guys, no way? I guess I don't understand. You just kind of decide it?
Again, I am not.
Not you, but
out
like the
deciding.
committee and everything, like they just decide, okay, yeah, that's the way it is.
I think that's the direction that the consensus from the steering committee, which I've been working with, and the city administration. I would say, if you want change, always, speak up, and
It's why I'm here.
so. That's not to say like stop with the chickens. That's
Sure.
just kind of a.
I just would challenge you to take a look at what some of the similar cities in the area, especially some of the cities that arguably have like, even closer houses together and even more like spaces that they, need to be more considerate of. They still allow stuff like that. And especially with the, ability where you would need some kind of an approval and a way to mitigate any kind of pests that are associated with it. I mean, rats are going to be anywhere that people are, but it's not really proven to be any more or less than anywhere else. So,
We did discuss it to length. We really, really did. And
can
I think a
imagine.
lot of the concerns were the enforcement of it, and in consideration of our enforcement staff also.
well, yeah. I guess I'm just more earing on trying to let people do things that they want to do than telling them no. I'm a fan of more yes, less no.
Keep this in mind, the zoning ordinance will be a public hearing in front of our board,
Yeah.
as well as city council. Bring your people in here and say, we want chickens.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would be cool.
We can do that.
We were working on any, specifications too, like lot size and whatever else you think would be good considerations to allow them.
I'll put up an email to you guys, and obviously I'll talk to some people about the hearing.
Okay.
We could allow them in the agricultural district.
Just rezone my house entirely. Just my house, AG.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Good job on this. There's a lot of words in here.
Yeah.
A lot of reading it was.
No other input right now? That's why I think we, move it forward to another meeting. And
Yeah, I understand that it is a large document. I wasn't expecting, this commission to say, okay, let's approve it. This looks great. I think, every zoning ordinance too is a living document. It's meant to be updated. It's meant to be amended. Of course, we want to give a really good, update. But I think we've kind of fallen out of the habit of regular ordinance updates and amendments as they come up, and that's how you get to a 30-year ordinance amendment or ordinance that's not really been touched much. So again, I will say, from staff's side and from our commission volunteer, our steering committee volunteers, a lot of work has gone into it, and I appreciate, everyone's time. Of course, Planning Commission is the body that recommends it, so we want to make sure that you're also comfortable with it. I think that does definitely mean more time. I'd appreciate any comments and appreciate everyone's, attention to it for sure. So again, any comments, feel free to send me an email. I do appreciate that, and we can work through those. But yeah, looking forward to the next steering committee, looking forward to draft 2 and discussing more.
Okay, everybody in agreement there?
Yes?
Okay, we don't need any motions or anything, so.
Nope, just a discussion item.
Okay, it's only discussion. All right, that's it, nobody for sure, nothing else? Okay, we'll move on. Public communication on non-agenda items. We don't have any public here. Monthly report, August 2025.
Regarding new items, I believe she's got an extension for the demo permit till October. I believe once that's done, they had some, I think, abatement issues. They'll be at the building phase. They combined their lots already in terms of those Rosemary houses. Those are not required to be split and combined. It's at the owner's discretion. So they kind of signed an agreement that they would allow them to use it.
That's for, you don't understand, that's where Rosemary has property that Sheets actually,
Gave them, yeah.
yeah, is it actually, they gave it to them then? No, but they're just,
No, they didn't
have use of it,
Give it to them.
perpetuity.
They can request it. I don't know why they would request it if they're allowed to use it without the tax implications, but they are permitted to
Otherwise,
request
you
that, and Sheets would cover the combo split cost. But that's where that stands. I believe the only other new item, ZBA approved a variance for a fence at a corner lot, 6-foot site obscuring, and then Planning Commission today approved the site plan in conjunction with the special land use. I believe that's it from the monthly report.
Okay.
Lauren?
Yes.
In the minutes from our last meeting, it said that Commissioner Myers asked for a status on this property, and I was wondering if you had anything on that.
The reason, I don't have an update on that one.
It's about sale.
There's-
Notice the site just north of Fraser Villa is for sale. Any updates?
Yeah, we just talked about that, and I had said about how a site plan's only good for a year, and what happens with that. If nothing gets done, because it's for sale, and it's like they're trying to sell it, they show it as site plan approved as they put it on the sign. So, yeah, site plan's approved, but you have to build it to that site plan then, right?
Right.
Right, and that's kind of what we talked about last time, when I mentioned that, it's usually not tied to a specific applicant. Obviously, it's tied to what the information that is presented to the commission in approving that. So in theory, if someone wanted to come along and, purchase something and build it in accordance with the approved site plan, I don't think that anyone would get in the way of that, of course, dependent on them complying with everything else, and timeframes and building permits and everything like that,
So
so.
it doesn't change the end of it, right, with that.
They would
the-
either have to request an extension or
That's true, yes.
come back in to get
Yes.
site plan approval.
Which we've done many times, yeah.
Did I hear anything on Hockey Land? No. The drive-through is open. Uh-oh. There's no obstruction. I don't know if it's open. There's no obstruction like it used to be.
Oh,
I have not gone through the drive-through, and I didn't see anybody going through the drive-through.
That
Uh-oh.
is news to me. I checked in with Mr. Denault because in my absence over the winter, it kind of became his baby, so to speak. So I know that there was discussion, was it last month, I believe there was a meeting? And there was discussion of coming before the zoning board for the unpaved lot for a variance or otherwise complying with the ordinance. That's the last update I had from Mr. Denault, but I do not know if he was aware of that. So thank you for telling
There
me.
is no obstruction. They used to have like a post there that
Yeah,
you couldn't drive through.
Okay.
To date, I have not received an application for that variance that they discussed. I think they're avoiding you, Frank.
So,
Next.
next zoning board of appeals, member liaison.
We have not had a meeting for the last 2 months. We will have a meeting in September, where we will be discussing the zoning ordinance.
In this month, you said, or no? Next month?
Next one.
Next month.
Yeah, our meeting would have been tomorrow.
We're going to have regularly scheduled meetings now throughout the year that even if there's no applications.
Once every 3 months, we made the decision that, in order to keep, a board intact, and that once every 3 months, if we don't have any other business, we would have a meeting.
I like that. Okay, commissioners' comments and items of interest or concern. Let's start with Kathy.
I have none, thank you.
Joanne.
I have nothing.
Renee.
Nothing.
Trevor.
First of all, go Lions this week.
Yay!
First game. Secondly, this Saturday, I believe it starts at like noon. I'll have to double check, but it is at Metro Beach or the St. Clair Metro Park. There is a car show called Northern Wagon Fest. It is all wagons, hatchbacks, and shooting brakes. And we're expecting a pretty big turnout of all the popular family hauler vehicles from the past and present. I'll have my wagon there, and it's a great time. It's a lot of really nice cars.
What is the shooting break?
Shooting brake is kind of like a wagon, but it's got more of a slanted back. So you think about like the newer Cadillacs that have a like hatchback, but like it's a long hatch. It's kind of like it's a mix between a sedan and a wagon. I don't know. They've had them a long time though. There's been some Volkswagens in the '60s that were described as shooting brakes, like the Type 3. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be cool. Come check it out. It's at Metro Beach.
Anything else? Commissioner Farina? Nothing? Commissioner Kyle?
On a personal note, I finally made a decision to retire at the end of this month. I will no longer be employed.
Congratulations.
That's when I buy the new Harley and cruise the country.
Hey,
Plenty of
Microphone.
Yeah.
I thought he
That was
was
just for fun
congratulating you.
anyway.
plenty of time to read the zoning ordinance is what I'm hearing.
What's that?
Plenty of time to read the zoning ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You should be our expert.
Tomorrow I'll be, how old am I? 67 years old tomorrow.
Congratulations.
happy almost
That's what I
birthday.
said to myself about a week ago. I said, you know what, you're getting ready to turn 67, you're still working. It's time to quit.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, John. All right, me, I just the one thing we talked about last time about that, it was in the minutes there about the concern with site plan compliance, like it was the one I brought up was the tire company at 15 in Garfield and the outdoor storage where he told us he wouldn't have any outside tires, and now there's racks all over the outside. So it was supposed to get addressed, but I still see everything the same. Plus, he's renting U-Hauls from out of there, so there's many U-Hauls stacked up. So it's all outdoor storage that was never permitted. And
U-Hauls are on the site?
U-Haul
I haven't seen that.
trucks, you know how, that's a lot, because you got they get them then, people drop it off there, and then people pick one up from there and rent them, and then take them to another U-Haul place that does so.
Okay.
So there's constant traffic, but there's ones that have been sitting there too that aren't
I
being
haven't
rented.
noticed. Okay.
So it's become a storage yard that never was approved for that.
The old building that Mr. Kyle, that building there at the corner.
No, not that
No.
one.
Oh,
No,
I'm
no.
sorry,
One at 15 in Garfield.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
No, it's the 15 in Garfield, because we did approve that site plan
Okay.
for a tire center, but we were very adamant about no storage on the outside of the tires, and he used to have a cart, and he'd wheel them in the garage every night.
Okay.
And so they'd only be out during the daytime when hours were open. Now they're permanent racks on the outside. So you got tires on the outside, which hold water, animals, all kind of things. Probably a little goldfish in there or something.
The little tire shop that took over the former building of Commissioner Kyle, it looks beautiful,
nice.
but I'm wondering about the signage. It's a lot of signage on that building, but it looks
Well,
nice.
you know, all the signs he got, I installed back when it was air conditioning, because he used the same frame, same lighting and everything. He just put different,
So there should have been
Different signage
permits
in
for
it.
refacing.
Okay,
So
okay.
it should have went through the building department somehow.
All right, it does look nice.
But that was the thing I just wanted to bring up, and it was in the minutes there again, so it reminded me again of what I did, but as I pass by every day, I see no change.
I ask a question then. Who gives this to Logan, and, I mean, how does it get to him? Do you bring it to him, or?
I do, and I will say that we have been on the Masonic place for the outdoor. That has been, I know that the code enforcement has visited them. I know it's still not done, but it's kind of the extent at this point. I apologize, but
And I have one more thing, and that is that October 1st, do we have a meeting? I guess.
I'll let you know in like a week and a half.
Okay, just so you know, I will not be here, as I will be at the yearly Code Officials Conference in Michigan, the fall conference, so I'll be gone that whole week. And I don't know, the next person that would follow me up is, oh, it's Renee. So if you have a meeting, this will be her
First.
Initial?
jump
Yeah.
out, yeah. Her debut. So we'll go from there. That's all I have. Nothing from Lauren? Anything from Melissa? Nothing? Nobody else here? I'll take any motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I won't see you next month.